Welcome to Subramani. So today I'm going to give you a list of questions which you should be asking your potential advisor. So let us first break it down into 4 parts. One is what is his experience and background. Second is what are the products that he offers and services, and how much is the payment that you are going to make and fees, and how is he being compensated. Largely this, and then of course the hygiene factors of who will deal with me. Will you deal with me on WhatsApp or email or things like that, which is more administrative. Will you deal with me or will your assistant deal with me? If I need a product which is outside of the scope, will you refer me to an outsider? And if you refer me to an outsider, what is the arrangement that you have with him? This would be part 4. So part 1, look for experience and background. What's your age? How long have you been in this business? What will make you change this? Right, today with husband and wife both working, if one of them gets a transfer, will the other person follow? Right? It happens sometimes, right? So if it's a guy who is with you and whose wife has got a career, and if she has to travel, will he also go and stay in a new place? Then, which means will he migrate? Will he leave the country? Will he leave the city? Do you want to deal with him at all? So ask these kind of questions also. So how long have you been in this business? Why did you come into this business? Did you come in by force or did you come in by choice? Very many people, especially who are older, may have come in more by force because they could not get jobs elsewhere. It happens even to well qualified people. How does your educational background help you in this work which you are doing? He may be a chartered accountant, doesn't mean he's trained to be a personal financial advisor. What else have you done to be able to do this? What else do you do? Right? What is the other part of your profession? Do you have something else? I mean, are you a singer? Are you a dancer? Are you a trainer? Are you a practicing chartered accountant? What are you? Right? So those kind of things. How long have you been doing, and who are your clients? Are your clients like me, or are your clients very different from me? Like I'm a film star or I'm a cricketer. I don't want to go to a guy who just deals with the normal salaried people, because he has to understand my cash flows. I don't want to go to a guy who deals, if I'm a doctor, I want to go to a guy who deals with other doctors also, maybe other specialities, but maybe he'll appreciate my problems better than if he does not have experience of dealing with doctors. Not that it can't be learned, but I would want to know all those kind of things, whether because if he's dealing with similar kind of people, then it becomes easier for us to communicate. Which language are you comfortable communicating? I am comfortable in three languages. Are you comfortable in 1 or 2? Right, all these things are basic, but yeah, his education background, how long you think will you sustain? If he's 45 years of age, 50 years of age, and you're 32 years of age, fine, you can go on for maybe another 20 years, that's perfectly alright, then it doesn't really matter. But if he's 60 years of age and he's hoping to retire at 65, then you have only 5 years in which to make the transition. Will he make it for you, or will you have to do it yourself? This could be an hygiene question or an education and background question, doesn't really matter. Second, you ask him is what are the products that he has. Now normally in Indian conditions, people have all kinds of products in one shop. So all of them are GPs or general practitioners, so they will have mutual funds, fixed deposits, life insurance, credit card problem solving. They would do all those things, but some people may just specialize and say, I do only mutual funds, I don't do life insurance, I don't do general insurance. I will get you somebody else who will do it, but I don't do this. So right, what are the products? Do those products interest you? If he's a futures and options trader, do you want to do something with him? Or do you say, oh God, he's an F&O trader, I don't want to deal with him at all? Right? So ask him what is the range of products he has, what different products, and therefore you will also know with whom he is registered. You will know whether he is registered with SEBI or IRDA or with both. Or he's got a family where his wife is registered with SEBI, he is registered with IRDA, and his son is registered with somebody else, right? So find out all those things, what product, his registration as a as an advisor and the products that he offers, you will find the link as to what he is offering. Or he could be doing all this on behalf of somebody else. He could say, I don't have any of these qualifications, I take your application, I deal with you, tell what you should do and give it to somebody else. There is one national aggregator with whom I am working. That's also possible, right? Then find out how much is the payment and fees. How much are you going to pay him? How much is he going to ask for? Is it a bundled product, or is the fees to be paid which will be separate from what the bundled product gives? Will it be both? Possible that if you are doing a very small amount, he'll say, okay, I make nothing in that, so I will also charge you a fee. Perfectly possible. If you want to do 5,000 rupee SIP, he'll not make any money. So he'll say, boss, I will charge you for doing your KYC, for filling up your form, for everything. I'll charge you a fee. Apart from that, I make 50 rupees per month from the mutual fund. To me, that's not sustainable. It's not even worth the tea that I've offered you. Forget my time, right? So all this is possible. Find out how you will be paying him. Also find out how he is being compensated. By whom is he being compensated? Is there any conflict in the compensation, right? So if he has an office where he is given advertising space to somebody else, is there a conflict there? So look for all those things. Make notes. Please make notes of whatever you are seeing and whatever you are hearing and whatever he is saying. Make these notes for at least 4 investment advisors or 3 investment advisors, because by the time, if you have decided on what basis you will compare, by the time you finish the 3rd interview, you know what broadly is available in the market in your area. What is available in Mumbai may not be available in Pune, and what is available in Pune may not be available in Kolhapur, and what is available in Kolhapur may not be available in Baramati, right? In each place it could be different. Or you could say, I really don't care physically where you are, we are going to do all the work online. Will you please file my income tax return also? Will you file my wife's income tax return? You have to make a choice of all that you have to offer, all that you will do, and how you will get paid. That is for the advisor to do, but you have to ask the advisor, how is he being compensated by each of those companies. Some companies pay much more front end, some companies pay much more back end. So the companies which pay him much more front end, he will be interested that you start, and then you would be indifferent whether you keep the money there or remove the money from there. Whereas in something like a mutual fund, he gets more of his money back ended, depending on it's a function of how long you stay in that fund or in a similar fund, and how much it has grown and how much you put. So the more money you put, the more it grows, the more a mutual fund guy gets compensated, whereas the life insurance guy gets compensated on a flat basis for the rest of his life. So you need to understand these models. So he might want you to buy some life insurance so that he gets some money upfront, and he may want you to put money in the mutual fund, stay longer, so that he gets more money back, some money back ended also. So you need to understand how he is being compensated by different parties. Based on that, is he trying to push you products? Then you have to ask one very simple question: if I were to be a fee only guy, what will be the impact of these investments? And if you were to be a fee only guy, what would be the impact? And what would be the impact if you were to take a bundle product fees? Tell me how much is the projected fees over the next 3-4 years. Then you will know what he is more likely to do. Now don't get me wrong, but one advisor who keeps your asset allocation right itself is worth his weight in gold. Vanguard research says an advisor adds about 3% per year value to a customer. So the question is not whether an advisor is good or bad, or expensive or not expensive. You have to choose him properly, and you have to pay the fees, and you should know how to extract value from what you have paid. Right? We all let's take the old saying, every product has a price. The question is, are you able to derive value out of it? Right? So you can buy a camera, or you can buy a phone and use it only for WhatsApp and SMS, or you can buy a camera and you can shoot videos, upload it on YouTube. You can do all those things. So question is, what percentage of the services that he offers are you going to be able to use properly for your welfare, for your growth? That is a question which you have to sit with him and decide and compromise. right? And finally arrive at a decision. Then of course there is the hygiene. Will you deal with me directly? Will you deal with me through an assistant? Will you refer me to somebody outside? If you refer me to somebody outside, how do you share? How often will we meet? How often will we do a review of our portfolios, right? So all those questions are also important, and make a list of all this and you're done. Thank you.